I got the energy because I'm gonna rile myself up hating this film more and more the more we talk about it. So,
Kicking 2021 off with a bang. All right.
we'll see.
I'm so
We'll
glad
see.
2020 is over. It's all smooth sailing from here, guys. Get ready.
Uh, I forget that it's 2021. It feels like 2020, the sequel.
All right, here we go. Three, two, one. Welcome back to the Nightcap. What's up, guys?
Welcome back, guys. First nightcap of 2021. We made it.
Yep.
We
I'm
fucking made
alive.
it. Holy shit, that's not Rich.
Rich? Where'd Rich go right now? A special guest.
Hola.
Oh, special guest.
I brought his beard, but it's not him.
He didn't bring the charm though. Let me just say a little quick warning to all the ladies. I'm sorry, but Rich couldn't make it tonight. So don't turn it off. Just keep watching. We got a special ringer episode with Gabe from Universal Groove. So thanks, Gabe, for stepping in.
Thank you. Cheers, guys. Thanks for having me here.
Cheers.
Really look forward to doing this one.
Rich is a little under the weather, so everybody say a prayer, light a candle, and hopefully he'll be back soon, wherever he is. But yep, 2021 kicking it off with a bang. Al's already in rare form. We're getting ready to show this movie.
I'm ready.
True to brand. Hate it or love it.
Yeah, man. It's either or. There's no like in the middle.
Hey, all right. Well, you know what? Before we kick into it, what are you guys drinking tonight? Gabe, what are you drinking now? This is your first time on the Nightcap. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Martinelli's gold medal, fucking sparkling apple grape. Holla at your boy.
You go. That was Dom P.
All right. You know you have to do a toast now.
Toast to treating women with great respect.
All right.
There you go. There you go.
Loves the ladies.
Who doesn't? I'm drinking Belhaven Brewery Scottish Ale. 300 years of bottling beers. Bam. Oh, wow. It's pretty good, actually. It tastes really good.
That looks pretty good. I'm going to try that. Back on the Ballast Point, Old Faithful. Doing a little Sculpin IPA action. So
can't go wrong.
Too exciting, but it's good. But let's talk about this movie we're about to get into. Right? Let me read the synopsis, and then we'll get into our review. Let's see here. So tonight we're doing the Informer. It's a 2019 British crime thriller directed by Andrea Di Stefano, written by Matt Cook, based on the novel 3 Seconds by Rosalind and Hellstrom. It stars Joel Kinnaman as the title character, alongside Rosamund Pike, Common, Ana de Armas, and Clive Owen. The movie was released in 2019, but I think it just started hitting streaming services here in the US not too long ago.
A few months
box
ago.
office wise is only 2.9, but we all know how last year was, so
yeah,
I'm sure that probably played a role on it. But yeah, before we get into this movie, everybody smash the like button. I'm gonna get better on that, calling you guys out. It's free, by the way, so go ahead and hit it twice if you need to. But let's get into this movie, guys. What did you guys think of the plot?
I don't know, Gabe. Since you're the guest, you want to start it off?
Yeah, I mean, it's like usual suspects. You had the guy that had nothing to lose, family's kidnapped, cute wife, ugly daughter, kind of scenario. Gangster involved, bad tattoos. Yeah, I mean, I like the plot. I thought it was cool. I thought it was it was different.
I wasn't expecting that jab at the daughter right off the bat. Okay, Al, what
the hell
I thought she was ugly. I mean, I don't think we should have messed with her. We should have left her alone. But
I don't know. This was
everybody calm down. She's not here to defend herself. All right, Al, go for it. Al, what do you got?
I don't know. This was like the regular kind of like deep cover double agent movie that we've seen like a few times. They put a little twist on it, like instead of like him being an agent for the FBI, he's like an ex-convict. Special forces that guy like probably went to jail for defending himself, which seems like it in the story. I gave it a 6 out of 10 just because nothing really stood out to me in terms of plot wise. It's nothing fresh to me.
Yeah, it felt familiar. I mean, I'm not knocking it. I gave it a 4. Like you said, it feels familiar, but just with the slightly difference of he's an ex-con. So pretty much they try to screw him the whole time. Whereas normally they're trying to we got to get our guy out of there. We got to save him. They pretty much just give him the cold shoulder at every opportunity. And so, whatever, let him find his way out. You have to figure that out. Right. And so, overall, I mean, like I said, I only gave it a 4, but I'm not knocking it. It's a simple story, but sometimes that's good too. It doesn't always have to be, hyper complex. Gabe, what'd you give it in terms of score?
I gave it an 8. I just
Oh,
like
hold on.
the kind of twists and turns of the story. You know, you're kind of walking into it like, all right, what's going on? And then he's going one way, and then all of a sudden something happens, and then now we're going the other way. So it kind of gave you some twists. You didn't really know where it's gonna go. So I gave it an 8 on the plot.
Yeah, definitely a lot of tension. I'll say that.
Yeah,
Too
I
Uh,
agree
many
with that.
twists. If we'll get into
that's
that.
up for grabs. We'll get to it. Let's talk production a little bit here. I mean, there's not a ton in terms
Yeah.
of like grading or special effects. There's some stunts, some fight scenes. Overall, I mean, there was some cool camera shots just from like my own photography side. I noticed there was some pretty cool camera shots that they did. They played with a lot with the depth of field and stuff. So they were trying to be creative. Some of the stunts and stuff were okay. I mean, the fight scenes were very gritty, you know, so I can't knock it there. Music wise, I thought it had a little bit of drama to it, but it didn't really stand out. Let me see. Overall grade for production, I ended up giving it like a 15.
Okay, that's the same score I gave it. Yeah, I don't know. It's just it didn't wow me in any way, but it didn't stand out in a bad way either.
Yeah, it wasn't distracting
So
at all.
yeah, so 15 is pretty much a decent score for that. It was just a well produced movie.
Yeah, on the production side, I give it an 18. I felt like some of the up close, like intense scenes had like the handheld camera, and then some of the real scenes that you just really wanted to, get a wider picture, like they had like the wide picture, steady camera on some of the more like important scenes. So I thought that was cool. They kind of raised the intensity with the handheld stuff. The music didn't really grab me. There wasn't any like special track on there or anything
Yeah,
like
No,
that. It wasn't hip hoppy, which you think it would be with Common being in the movie. So
exactly.
throw,
You would
yeah.
think that.
throw some hip hop type beat or something, but it was pretty basic on that end. But I did like that the music was really kind of bring that tension
Yeah.
with the photography and stuff like that, or the camera work. So I thought that was cool. And then yeah, like the fight scenes are pretty gritty. Usually, you expect like that Batman fight scene where they're kind of turning the camera a million ways. You can't really see the punch, you can't really see the kick. In this, they kind of did that, but you still seen like the action. You still felt the tension. I like the blood in the background when people are getting shot. I thought that was pretty cool with the small special effects, but there's no green screen stuff, nothing like that.
No.
But I thought it was pretty gritty. It was cool.
It's
Yeah.
true. I'll say there's like one thing you got to give the movie is like they had a very focused idea of what they wanted to do with the movie. Kind of like we said again, saying gritty, kind of bring that tension and suspension, and they stuck with it. They didn't try to be something that they weren't. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so a lot of like from the very get go, you meet the main character, and you see him kind of huddled over there, like working on stuff, putting the wire in his clothes, and you kind of get this kind of very like intense vibe, and it kind of sticks throughout. And the music and everything and the camera work, it kind of stuck with that, and it kept it going. No way was it distracting. You could tell it's kind of a smaller budget, on some of
Yeah.
the things and some of the actors that they got to. And we're going to get into acting in a second, but I thought overall they did a pretty decent job. But
That was actually a great opening scene though.
Yeah.
With him, like with the close-ups of like the wire and everything. That was a great opening
and
scene.
then his ugly daughter comes in and sits on his lap.
Look at that daughter. You just gotta go, man. I don't know who cares.
Fucking distracting.
Lost a couple points on the casting right there. Lost a couple
Well,
points.
speaking of distracting, let's talk about freaking Al's celebrity crush over here, Anna de Armas. What was that hair, Al? What was that Lion King hairdo?
Look what they did to my angel. It distracted me in every scene she was in. I don't know if that was her real hair and they just made her have a blowout perm or if that was an awful wig, but legit, like it distracted me in every scene she was in. Like I couldn't focus. I was just like, what is this? Is this like what the hell? Is this an 80s movie right now? Like Jesus Christ.
Apparently they think that's what Polish women look like.
Was she supposed to be Polish? Like, because she's Cuban, and I couldn't understand what accent she was trying to do. So I don't know if that's a Polish Cuban. I don't know, guys.
That was a Cuban trying to do a Polish accent, trying to speak English.
with a blowout perm.
With a blowout perm. She nailed it. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll say about that character. I mean, again, yeah. I mean, she still looked pretty cute. I still like. I don't know how those bad guys did not rape her. I know it came up, and I'm definitely not a raper guy. But how they did not rape that girl, I don't know. I mean, these guys are nice bad guys.
Look, maybe they just didn't have time. The general was like, "You got to burn this house down right now."
Well, I can tell you why they didn't do it because your favorite actor, Common, showed up. It's an Oscar-worthy performance here. And said, "Hey, what the hell are you doing? Get off her."
That
is
true.
NYPD.
That's probably the best part of that whole movie, I guess. Right? I mean,
yeah. Well, let's talk about. Gabe, I'll let you take it away. What would you think about Common's performance in this? Because you kind of foreshadowed a little bit already.
All right, here we go, man. You guys buckle up for this.
Rant
I've
time.
been saying this. It's kind of weird that we kind of did this movie and I, you told me about this movie and I'm like, I watched the trailer first, right? And it happens every time. I've been saying this for many, many years. You watch a trailer, it's like hitting on all cylinders. You got the action, you got
Yep.
the stars that you like, story looks good, action sequence, like, oh, this is intense, this is great. And all of a sudden, boom, Common shows up in the last 10 seconds of that trailer. And it's like, it just loses like all credibility. And I don't want to like hate on Common because at the end of the day he's
You
gonna
are.
check
You are hating on Common.
he's got fans. People are gonna go check out Common. Every chick I know like loves Common. He looks the same in every movie. The guy doesn't age. He just doesn't. He just looks the same. But the thing that kills me the most is it just takes that credibility from a good movie. And I feel like he's the same character in every single movie. It's like I don't even think he changes costumes. I think he goes from like one set to the next. Like it's the same guy, it's the same cop guy. He's cute, he'll take your girl, watch out,
Yeah.
So but it's just with all the other characters and that are in the movie, they're so, they're pretty believable except for the blowout hair. But other than that, like you see this guy walk in, it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't hit with all the characters and the performances they're putting on. And he's not bad. It's not like he's bad. It's just that I've just seen this character so many times from him.
Yeah.
It's distracting because when he comes, like you said, when he comes on the scene, you're like, that's Common. Like it's not his character. You're like, that's Common. Like he probably just walked into the John Wick 2 set into this set, and it's totally the same character.
Yeah.
So I'll back you up on that.
Especially with the other performances in like I'm not up until this movie, I wasn't really much of a fan of that Joel Kinnaman actor, but I thought he did a really solid performance.
Oh, absolutely.
Movie. Rosamund Pike, she's a great actress. I mean, you totally believe her as the FBI kind of the cold, ice queen, right? Chick, she's trying to get bust these guys and get promotion. And Clive Owen's such a snake, right? Going through out here,
such a bastard.
But then it's like basketball, and then they pass the ball to Common, and then he just like shoots a brick, and you're just like, what happened right now?
Like a screeching halt. Like,
all of a sudden the record goes, and everyone just turns around and looks like, what just happened right now? What was that? He's just trying to like mock up the passion. He's just like, you want to cross the NYPD blue. It's like, all right, I guess.
The biggest police force in the world. And when he tried to be the badass, when he went to go visit the prison, he's like, I'm the hangman. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
You just can't. I can never. What it is to me, I just kind of like thought about this all day. Like I'm just like, you know what it is? It's just that he has like no ticks. There's no like difference from any character that he's ever done. I wish he'd do like add a limp or add like a star or something like
an accent maybe. A Polish Cuban accent maybe.
Anything like maybe he has a drinking problem like something. I mean he's just like too shiny. He's like too shiny of a toy to be in a movie like this. I mean it's like super like, okay bro, you're going through a lot of different changes in this movie. You got to handle this, you got to handle that, and then you just see like this just like mannequin walk in. It's just
you can't be the smooth guy in every movie. I get it. You're cool. Exactly. I get it.
You know what, Al, you're totally right. He's still trying to play it cool instead of really get into the character. Like you watch all these movies, we see like, DiCaprio, all these guys. DiCaprio's been like, he's been like a frontiersman. He's been like getting raped by a bear. He's been the Wolf on Wall Street. You know what I'm saying? He's been in gangs in New York. And then, he's like a different person every time. He's not trying to play cool Leo every time. He's not trying to play the guy from Titanic in every movie. I feel like Common's still trying to be Common. Like,
I don't even know if he's at fault for that. I don't know. I think the studios are just kind of where it's at. I think they just feel like, okay, well, we need a character that's gonna, get some people to just watch it. But it just takes away from like the film. It takes away from everybody, And I like Common though. I like him as a rapper. I just wish that he kind of like dip his toes a little bit and like, take a chance and just tell these studios like, you know what? Let me show you some range, let me show you something that I can do, or add something, like I said, like a scar or an accent, like something.
Patch.
Like maybe you're right. Maybe maybe it's not his fault. Maybe he got pigeonholed by all these studios saying we need a cool, slick black guy to play like, this cop, this hitman or whatever. And there's no real range because he's kind of like, boxed into that.
Yeah, well, I mean, he probably has a clause like, I'll never shave my beard in a movie. Like, if you don't hire me with beard, I brought my Common beard for this fucking interview, but like, dude, it's I don't know. I just wish that they would let him maybe he has the chops, maybe he has it, but they don't let him, maybe take the chance.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
go
know.
with a no on that, but okay. You guys are being real nice. Hey, all right. Well, what about the other performances? I mean, we kind of shat all over Common right now.
Yeah, fucking hey.
What about the other people in here? Al, what did you think about Clive Owen, for instance, as the FBI director?
Well, first of all, I hope Common doesn't watch this because he's gonna go right after Gabe's throat. So
If I see that down like vote, I know who did it. All right, Common, I'm looking at you. All right.
well,
Every common
Clive
fan.
Owens, he did a good job for the 10 lines that he said. Like, and every scene that he's in, he's a bigger bastard in every scene.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I
Very
hope he gets
sloppy.
it. Yeah, I hope he gets it. And spoiler alert, he gets it. But I gave the acting 22 out of 30, and then the majority of that was for Joel Kinnaman. He's a great actor. I really liked this. I really liked him in this movie. I really liked him in the first season of Walter Carbon also. And he actually did a pretty good job. Like, I didn't really like Suicide Squad, but he did a good job, like playing like the kind of like the captain like of the Suicide Squad. So props to him. And then already mentioned it, my celebrity crush, even though they kind of butchered her hair, Anna de Armas did a good job too, even though that hair
You're
was
such a
very
softie, bro.
distracting.
You're such a simp.
She's probably gonna see this and like totally shoot this guy an email like, I love you, man.
I'm like, I'm hoping for like that 1 millionth chance.
You're gonna get a DM in like broken English, being like, "Thank you, you're not making fun of my."
I'm like,
my bad.
And then I'm gonna read it like, is this a Polish Cuban email? I don't know.
Like, is this a troll? Well, what did you guys think about the villain, the general? Because I know me and Gabe, we were kind of touching on it earlier. I kind of liked it, but I think I might be alone on that one. What do you guys think?
I wish they fleshed it out a little bit more because the scenes that he was in, he was pretty intense, kind of like old school Polish guy, and then like
Mobster.
and it was pretty cool that before prison, like he went to his house, almost kind of like paternal almost,
Yeah.
but then also kind of in a threatening way. You're like, well, I don't have kids, but because it would hurt me too much if someone hurt them.
Yeah.
His ugly daughter, Gabe. So
I don't have kids, and I'm so grateful if I did have like an ugly daughter like you.
So I mean, I wish they fleshed it out more. I felt that character had potential, but he was kind of a throwaway. He was just like the general, and then that was it. They didn't really flesh it out.
Ooh, well, let me talk about the general. So the general, to me, he just looked like an old like dopey from Snow White. And then when I seen him, I just started busting up laughing. And actually, what made it even more sadder is that like we kind of look alike, like kind of look like that guy, And I'm like, fuck. But anyways, like I just felt like he could have been more ruthless. I mean, he was kind of cool, like he's kind of whispery talk, and you understood what he's saying and all. But I kind of wish that he kind of would have took some more steps to really like set in stone, like I'm like no one to really mess with.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really feel like that. Like I felt Clive was more evil than that guy. I thought his character was just way more ruthless than that mob boss. But I don't know. That's that character. Yeah, I wish he would have been a little bit more tougher.
I don't know. I mean, like I said,
there.
I kind of liked him. I kind of like the things like Al you were touching on too, where he's kind of like he almost lulls you asleep a little bit, where he's like kind of nice guy-ish, and he seems so kind of like harmless. But then at the same time, if you listen to what he's actually saying, you're like, dude, this guy's a fucking villain. Like, right when he first says it, he's like, oh, so I heard, that guy, my nephew or whatever, saved your life. He's like, how much is your life worth? All right, now you owe me 5 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh shit. You're like, for a second there, you think he's gonna give him like a pat on the back, and then you're like, oh, well, now you're fucked. And then, so like you said too, when he goes to that dinner at the house, and he's talking about the daughter, he's like, yeah, I couldn't stand if someone tried to hurt him. Like, you just could read between the lines, and you could see like, okay, this is a threat. Like, this isn't like, this is a bonding moment. And so I kind of appreciated the way they did that. But I did, like Gabe said, like I wish I kind of got to see more of this kind of underworld, or maybe hear a little bit more of his history, like how he got the name the General, for instance. Right. So I don't know if maybe in the book they get into that more, or maybe
I would think so.
The sequel. But I thought he was interesting enough. I mean, it's typical mobster, but I don't know. I was intrigued. But let's get into the directing on this one here, and the overall storytelling on this. So, what'd you guys think? I mean, well, I'll start off on this one. I actually like the pacing. I thought the pacing was pretty good. It definitely builds the tension. It starts to drag a little bit before he goes to prison a little bit. Overall, like it's just this really heavy, dark like cloud where the situation just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, to where you just think to yourself, like, how's this guy going to get out of this? And it definitely had me intrigued. And then when he even actually ends up escaping, which whether you want to say it's plausible or not, I thought it was close enough to being believable, right? He didn't like tunnel his way out. But at the same time, at the end, you're like left with so many questions. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because I'm like intrigued because I want to know more. But at the same time, too, I'm like, you told the story, but you didn't end it.
Maybe that's why at least they reeled you in for a sequel, if there is a sequel.
Yeah.
But this definitely felt like a Netflix like action movie, where I don't think this deserved like a major motion picture like release, because directing, I gave it a 17 out of 30. I did not like the directing at all. It was yeah.
I'll
I'm
drink
coming
to
for the
that.
throat, because like he tried to fit in a lot in a small amount of time. Not even small, like it's almost 2 hours. But I feel like if they fleshed, and you know me, I'm all about like a good
Very
runtime.
short
But
attention span.
yeah, like, but I felt like it would have done more justice, because it felt really rushed at the end. They try to put in so much, like you don't know where to focus on. Like, yeah, the main story is supposed to be Coslow, but then you threw in Common, you threw in the FBI, you threw in his wife and kids, then you threw in like the remorseful FBI agent. You didn't know what to focus on. That, and like in the very beginning, Jesus, the first 30 40 minutes, there was like what, 5 betrayals. You're like, that's not plausible. And then can we get into like the ending scene with like how he got out of prison? That was I'm like, dude, did anyone not notice that that's not the guard? I mean, it wasn't even like Hannibal Lecter, where he had like the mask, like the face mask of like the guard. No, it was just his face. I'm like, hey, no, that's the guy.
I don't know. That's a tough one there. I'm not going to fight you too hard on that one. Gabe, what did you think overall of the directing?
I think kind of to counter to what he's saying, it's like I felt like there was so much stuff going on, and it was really, the story is pretty complex, but he kind of kept it together enough where you can follow along. The pacing was pretty good. I didn't really get bored. I don't think there was like a real like dull moment in the movie. You're pretty much on your toes for all the twists and turns this thing goes. I thought the camera work was good. Like we had talked about before, I thought he kept everything, kind of engaging as far as from scene to scene. I gave it a 25.
Whew.
And the only thing I didn't really like at the end was it kind of left it open, like we were talking about, like with the
Yeah.
mob boss. I don't know what happened with that. If he would have kind of showed up in the last scene, I would have been like, okay, cool. Maybe there's an opportunity for a second movie. But I don't know. It kind of like left that whole part out of, the whole mob boss. Like what happened with that,
Right. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of loose ends at the end. Overall, I give it a 22. And then actually, guys, what did you guys give your acting scores? I think I might have skipped over that. What did you guys give in terms of acting?
Acting, I give 22.
On the acting, I give it 25.
All right. Yeah. Acting, I give it a 24. That was my highest score. So I definitely I overall like the performances. But like I said, you get into the directing, I have mixed feelings because like I said, I'm pretty picky, but I was intrigued by the character and the story. Contrary to Al, I didn't feel like it was like I had a hard time focusing. Like to me, it was all about Joe's character, and you're just following him and trying to see how he's going to get out of this mess. And they continue to put him in a worse and worse situation. I will say there was a couple of moments there where there's like a movie magic where people just randomly show up at the perfect time, right? Like when Common shows up at the house at the end when the wife's being taken captive, like the perfect time to save her. And just a few moments there along the way where you're kind of like, okay, that's a little bit of movie magic. Also, too, it wasn't entirely clear, at least for me, like when he's in the prison. So he goes in to set up this ring, and then they rat him out, right? So the black dudes are going after him, the black gang's getting after him, and then he tells them, "I'm a snitch." And so then basically, but he kind of like mumbles it, right? Because they're like hanging him. And then you have to like figure it out, like, yeah, I'm a snitch, but don't worry, help me. And then I'm gonna, turn on the Polish so then you guys can keep your power, I guess. It was kind of like, I don't know, it was a little muddled for me a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, obviously at the ending, I'm glad that he did survive, just because if he would have gotten killed, the movie was already such a bummer, like the way they treated the main character the whole time. If he would have killed him at the end, it would have been like, geez, like what did I just watch 2 hours of this for? But at the same time, you're like, okay, what happens next? So if there isn't a sequel to this, that'll definitely affect the way I feel about this movie. If there's a sequel and actually tie this stuff together, I'll definitely be more intrigued. But I don't know. Like I said, I have a lot of just mixed feelings overall. But let's get into X Factor. Let's get into X Factor here, and just your overall takeaways from this movie. I'll go ahead and kick it off.
X Factor, I didn't like it because I didn't give it a 10. I gave it a 2 in X Factor. Yeah, I don't know about 2021 how it makes me feel right now, but I'm not being very generous like for 2021. I just wasn't into it. I
Regular
just wasn't
Scrooge.
into it. Like, and here's the thing: when I saw the trailer, I saw the promotional poster. I'm like, oh, this looks real good. And then like I turned it on, great opening sequence, and then next thing you know, I just was like, I just kept on like going. I'm like, I'm not liking this movie. Like in my mind, it was just train. I'm not liking this movie. I'm not liking this movie. Not enough that I wanted to turn it off. Like, all right, I'll see how this pans out. But it never panned out, like you guys said. Like it was just kind of like left you hanging. And maybe I'll feel different if there's a sequel. Maybe if they do tie it on, tie it in all together. Maybe then, as a whole, it'll be better. But right now, yeah, did not like it.
All right, Gabe, what'd you give it?
I give it a 7 for the X Factor. I mean, I like the movie. I definitely would recommend it to a friend for sure. I like that there was twists and turns. I like that you really couldn't pinpoint where this story was gonna go. One thing like right off the top, you're thinking you're going this direction, then it cuts to this direction. Now we're going this direction. So I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, some movies you can kind of at least predict where it's going to go, but you really didn't know what this movie's going to take you. And then it was good. I like the pace of it. That was cool. I do wish that Common was not in this movie. I mean, I love me some
That's
Common,
clear. That's
but
abundantly clear.
he kind of killed that whole vibe. I just think they could have used probably someone else on that, and probably would have been
Yeah,
better.
I would think so.
You know who would have been good in this? Like Forrest Whitaker. He would have been like good and like as the cop.
Yeah.
Like kind of brings a little gravity to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know, just not a rapper. Just someone that like, just not a rapper. But I just felt also, but yeah, I mean, really, I just gave it a 7. So on the X Factor.
Right on. All right, I'll give it a 5. I mean, like I said, overall, I kind of have mixed feelings on the movie. There's things I like. There's things that obviously are kind of frustrated. I don't even the part of the stuff that kind of bugged me a little bit. It doesn't really bother me too much. The main thing is just I feel like there's a lot of loose ends. And so, like I said, if they end up doing a sequel, they'll probably change maybe even some of my feelings about the first movie. But for right now, I am still intrigued, which is, I'm not usually I don't know. I usually can care less, but in this movie, I actually am curious to see what happens to these characters. So I actually hope they kind of tie this together. And so I don't have to go, track down this book or whatever to find out what happens. But yeah, overall, I give it a 5. So overall scores, I gave it a 70. I don't know. What did you guys give it?
I gave it a 62 out of 100. Mm-hmm.
A little salt on that.
Yeah.
Gabe, what'd you give?
I gave it an 83.
Oh man,
I know, I'm disappointed now. You know what? I watch you guys' episodes all the time, and Al is like just handing out those points. He's handing out those X Factor 10s. And this is the one time I'm on. The one time I'm on, this guy gives it a 2. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
I got him on a bad day, bro.
I couldn't. Honestly, like maybe I just hated this movie just because of what they did to her hair, to Anna's hair. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's what. Maybe I couldn't get over that, and in turn, subconsciously, I shitted all over this movie. I don't know.
You know what? I could have like subconsciously sabotaged her for you. You know what I mean? Because like you said,
yeah,
that's your beautiful baby, and then look what they did to her. They made her into the Lion King.
All I know is if there's a sequel, I will not watch it. If she still has that same hair, I will not do it. I'm protesting.
Hopefully not. Hopefully she goes into hiding and she gets a new hairdo. You know what I mean? All right, guys. Well, we'll call it a wrap. Overall, The Informer, I don't know. I think it was a decent offering, and here's to 2021 kicking it off.
Here's a 2021. Hopefully, it's better than 2020, guys. But we'll see. We'll see. It's already a weekend, and we're already a shit show. There you go.
Gabe, thanks for stepping up and coming in like get the 6-man award this year. And Rich, wherever you are, get some rest and some chicken soup.